Hello everyone and good evening. Thank you for joining us here tonight. We are live with Racing Series Europe for the finale and final race of their Multiclass Monday Championship between the GT3s and the GT4s. We're here at a very overcast looking Monza tonight for the 75-minute endurance race as we're watching these drivers just round off the last 10 minutes of free practice, as they're just tuning their setup, fine-tuning their setups to get them into the perfect balance the drivers require. So it has been a long championship. The GT3 championship looks as follows. Once we find the exact championship order, if you just bear with me, as we're watching CSO Ban in the 974 McLaren lap round this legendary track. So the current GT3 championship leader is Alexander Rohznov, and the number one BMW just going through past the Audi GT4 there. And they are followed quite far back by Adrian Hanniewicz, who has yet to join the server, with Stuart Robinson in the Ferrari. We've got Robinson in the server, yes we do, in third. I think Robinson is mathematically out of the championship and I think is also locked down third place. Fourth we have Gigos Apostolopoulos, currently done the fastest time, 1:48.2. Also in the McLaren. Serhij Strelitz is next in the championship order, then 7th, currently still lapping the yellow Ferrari there, the 227 car. Zaitsev doesn't appear to also be in the server yet. Well, Mihali's in 6th, sorry, missed Mihali there. Mihali is in 6th in the championship. Other drivers, CSO Ban seems to be making their debut this evening. Rulinski also looks to be making their scoring debut in the championship. Frankenberg is there, listed as 13th in the championship just now as well. So in the GT4 championship, we have Will Friedman, who's yet to set a lap time, currently still in the pit lane, leading the championship by a huge amount, and will require Ed Sterling to win and Friedman not to score well at all this evening for that championship lead to be overturned. We've got Adam Anderson in third, who's a lot closer to Sterling. Adam Anderson in the 888 McLaren in the pit lane there, just finalising their setup. Possibly could take second from Ed Sterling. Dan McCutcheon, just been overtaken by the yellow Ferrari we've seen earlier on, is in 4th. Ben Berriman, who will not be participating tonight, the highest they will finish in the championship is 5th, as will Highgrade in 6th, who is not here tonight either. Sperano, I don't think, at least not on the server just yet. James Dean in 8th. In the 57 McLaren is 8th in this championship, yep, that's right, and Jamal Kanzo is 9th. Myself, the captain, is in 10th, again not racing tonight, so I'll finish no higher than that. Kopax doesn't seem to be here this evening, neither is Dan Naisbitt or Darren Davies, so that will be a top 10 finish for myself. But enough about myself, let's look at a little bit of the action as we've got 5 minutes left of practice. And we'll try and take you around a lap off this majestic track. We'll come on board James Dean in the McLaren, as they seem to be next to come round the track. So we come on board in the passenger seat with Dean as we come down this long straight, one of the longest straights in racing, the famous Monza start-finish straight. Turn 1 is Variante del Rettifilo, the slow right-left chicane. James Dean gets very high on the first curve, a little bit out of control. That will compromise the exit. He's pulled over. We're not going to get the trap guides with that one. Let's see if McCutcheon can treat us any better. On the dash from McCutcheon. We'll try that again. Take 2. Very overcast here so far at Monza. That'll be music to the driver's ears. So we'll try this again. Take 2 into the Variante del Rettifilo. Hard on the brakes. Just clips the curb nicely. Both curbs, gets both apexes and gets the power down nice and easily. Long right-hander. This is easily flat out in the GT3. We'll see if the GT4 can do it flat out as well. Curva Grande. Next up is the Della Roggia chicane. Hard on the brakes, just at the orange barrier on the right. Little bit of understeer for McCutcheon, carrying a bit too much speed. Bumpy curb on the exit, careful not to brush the tyres on the grass on the outside. Into Lesmo 1, want to try and get as late an apex as possible, but that Audi of McCutcheon understeers wide onto the AstroTurf. Lesmo 2, so important to get a good exit out of here. Keep it within the white lines so you don't get your lap time deleted for track limits. And now it's just full power through the left kink, down over the crest, down through the tunnel. You want to spot your braking point just as you go into the gantry. Turn it in over the left for a scary chicane, one of the trickiest corners on the track, very bumpy on the second apex. And you get that third apex just right. You will be flat out all the way down the back straight, down to the famous Parabolica. Only 11 corners on this track, but each one is fast and frantic. Early apex this time. Let the car drift slowly out to the left hand side of the track as you get your foot down. So important again to get the power down early as you come onto the start finish line now. And McCutcheon does not improve, but that is a lap off Monza. And we'll be doing this for 75 minutes tonight. One pit stop, one mandatory stop for the drivers this evening. The only thing the drivers have to take on is 1 litre of fuel. They can obviously take more, and I think most of them will be taking more, but they do not need to change tyres at all in this race. It is warm, even though the sun is not out. It is still 25 degrees. 25 degrees air temperature, 29 track just now. That may change of course for the race. McCutcheon looks to be a lot more control through the Della Roggia chicane that time around. See how he takes Lesmo 1. There was quite a bit of understeer last time. Looks a lot more in control this time. It is worth pointing out all of this not possible if it wasn't for McCutcheon organising the league. Big shout out to him and big thanks, I'm sure, from all the drivers who have been taking part. So we'll do him a favour of sticking with him for the rest of this lap because it does look like a good one. Look at that just, and he's lost the rear drifting, 4-wheel drift through a scary. Down into the Parabolica one more time. This will be the last time in free practice, and these went too deep. Thanks for that. Who else has still got on track? Frankenberg in the Lambo, the 420 Lambo. And the Lambo seems to have given up on this lap as well. Who else is still out there? Ed Sterling, surely the championship contender in the bright yellow Ginetta, can show us a completed lap in the dying embers of free practice. Currently 4th place in amongst the GT4s, but under half a second between 1st and 4th. So it is going to be quite close. Spanu seems to have joined the server as well. That's good to see in the GT4 Ginetta. Hanniewicz has managed to make the race as well, so we are going to get a championship battle in amongst the GT3s. Thankfully, it will require, of course, a race win, pole position, fastest lap for Hanniewicz, and a very bad race for Rohznov to be knocked off the number 1 spot. Sterling goes and takes the fastest lap of practice at the very last moments, but unless the championship leader can do anything about that, late to the server, where did they finish?
Green line, give it all you got.
Sterling Friedman only went into 5th, so we're about to start qualifying. If you've not done this with us before, the GT3 drivers will be heading out first. That is a Porsche that's out, and it looks like Hanniewicz. It is indeed. So Hanniewicz missing practice, wasting no time getting on the track and qualifying. So the GT3s will go out first. They'll have the first 10 minutes exclusive use of the track, so anyone on the left hand side which has a number with a white background next to their name, they will be entitled to the first 10 minutes of qualifying, and then the final 10 minutes of qualifying will see the GT4s take to the track and they'll get their share of the spotlight. The reason for this, of course, is you need, for qualifying, sets positions on the grid, and to separate the GT3s and GT4s on the grid, ideally they all have clean laps in qualifying, unlike Hanniewicz to show us they're running a little bit wide, very wide through Lesmo 2. That will separate the GT3s and the GT4s on the grid. Given the GT3 significant pace advantage, you don't want those two colliding. Similar to what we've seen in Spa, with one of the GT3s starting at the back off the grid, hitting one of the GT4s before they even made it to El Rouge. Hopefully we'll have no such incidents this time around, as all the GT3s apart from Frankenberg now on track. Frankenberg still in the pit lane, the 420 car. Hanniewicz going to go round to set. Nope, this isn't setting the line. This is to begin the first flying lap, the first competitive lap of our finale here at Racing Series Europe Multiclass Championship. Just a quick reminder, if you are interested in taking part in any of these kind of events, of course you can do so. The easy way to do that is to look up www.thesimgrid.com and check out Racing Series Europe on there. We do have a couple of events coming up in the near future. And I'll just quickly find out what these are as we watch Hanniewicz now come through Lesmo 2. Couple of the drivers still. It looks like we've received Frankenberg. Frankenberg is on the track, thankfully, as is Rohznov on an invalid lap according to the driver tracker. Anyone with a blue dot on the tracker on the bottom right is currently not on a valid lap. Anyone with a grey dot is, the red dot of course is the car we are currently following. That is Adrian Hanniewicz in the number 38 Porsche. Round the final corner now, round the parabolica, drifts all the way out to the right on the racing line, all the way out to the white line on the edge. Approaches the start finish line now and sets a time of 1:48.6. Next across the line is going to be Apostolopoulos, followed by the 9.74 of Sirius Oban. Apostolopoulos only 4/10ths down. Sirius Oban cuts that gap in the middle. Rohznov not yet on a valid lap, neither is the 75 car of Rolinski. The number 66, however, of Mihaly is on a hot lap and in that Ferrari round Monza. What can he do? 3 seconds off the pace. He's got some work to do to catch up with the leaders. The number 11 now, Robinson, crosses the line. 1.1 still off the pace. Strelitz will be the next one to make their way round. Heading into the final corner now. Really is a brilliant corner. You hear the tyres screeching under pressure as they're pushed to the very limits of qualifying. Strelitz, I think, just building up confidence, goes into 5th. Three Ferrari drivers. 4th, 5th and 6th so far. Apostolopoulos will be next around. What's happened to Hanniewicz? Hanniewicz must have been back in the pit lane. Frankenberg yet to set a time, so we'll stick with them just briefly just now. Rounding the final corner, the 420 car ends up 2.3 off the pace, but up into 5th. Gets in amongst the Ferraris. Rohznov goes into 3rd place. Apostolopoulos did set a new fastest lap, 1:48.2. Number 66 now, Mihaly. Can Mihaly improve? Again, just winding up confidence. Mihaly does improve, finds it over a second, goes into 8th. Robinson again finds half a second but doesn't improve position. Increases the gap between himself and Rolinski. Number 38 is written invalid. That's Hanniewicz again. Hanniewicz potentially in a little bit of trouble of getting round in time. So if you finish your lap, if you start your lap before the clock hits 10 minutes, the GT3 drivers can continue on and complete that lap. However, if they cross the line at 9 minutes and 59 seconds, that is their qualifying session over, and they'll start no higher than the position they have on the left hand side, as Zaitsev's joined the server very late. Will not have long to do qualifying. Hopefully if they get out now, they'll get a lap in, a clean lap in. Hanniewicz using all of the track. Doesn't improve. As Apostolopoulos finds some more time. First driver into the 1:47s. We'll see if Rohznov can match that. Championship leader goes into P2. 3/10ths down, building in confidence. Dropping the lap time slowly as Rolinski managed to find some time and goes into P4 now. Mihaly round the final turn now. Doesn't improve. Can Robinson find time? Robinson does find time. Goes within a second of provisional pole and takes 11th. Monza always brings some close racing. Zaitsev still not out on track and will not set a relevant lap time. The 420 car, Frankenberg, has a spin at the second chicane. Need to be careful not to interrupt. Rohznov as Rohznov comes through now, so no issues there. Will Frankenberg get round in time to start another lap? There's about 65 seconds to do so. They're about halfway around the track. It's going to be close as the 45 car of Apostolopoulos runs wide and has gone invalid through Ascari. Soban in the McLaren, we'll see how they can do. We'll stick with them, see what their driving's been like so far. Flames spurting at the back of that McLaren. As Hanniewicz goes within 1/10 of pole. Hanniewicz only 0.18 seconds off provisional pole. Quick rundown as the drivers come through now. The 420 of Frankenberg gets a lap done. The 75 car of Rolinski will get a lap, but this is now Robinson's final lap. 2-1, and that is the checkered flag out for GT3 qualifying, where these drivers will get to finish the laps they're on. Robinson not going to improve. Mihaly comes to cross the line. Doesn't improve. Already pulls out of that one. For the 45 car of Apostolopoulos has spun. It looks like yellow flags out there, it looked like. And they've ran wide. That's their lap now invalid. No, it's not. The track limit's very lenient. And the exit of Lesmo 2. Lesmo 1, sorry. Apostolopoulos still going round. 223 car. Zaitsev's now going out on track. They're not allowed to set a time. They are not allowed to set a qualifying time. They'll have to start from the back of the grid. Let's go back and stick with 45 of Apostolopoulos. Soban still out on a valid lap, and Apostolopoulos has pulled over to the side. Soban will be next across the line, with Frankenberg and Rolinski very quickly in tow. We'll see what they can do. As Soban now comes across the line, does improve up into 5th. Rolinski dives into the pit lane, not going to improve, and neither is Frankenberg. So the big question now is Zaitsev, still on track, is not allowed to be out there. The stewards might have something to say about that one. I know he's joined the server late and probably looking for a little bit of practice, so if he dives in now, at the end of this lap, I'm sure the stewards will possibly avoid, will maybe give mercy. Kanzo out on track, as is TOK. The Triple Eight of Anderson crosses the line to start a lap. And Zaitsev's going to set a lap here. He's going to be in trouble. Oh, will he? He set a clean lap actually, and put himself back off the GT3s, possibly out of reach of the GT4s. That might actually, if you think about it, he's taken himself out of the danger zone behind the GT4s and put himself back in the pit lane. The stewards may take a lenient approach with that one. But anyway, now it's time for the GT4, so let's focus on them. That AMG engine is very loud. I'm having to speak very loudly to speak over it. A little bit of understeer for Kanzo and the AMG. The Triple Eight of Anderson has violated track limits as James Dean leaves the pit lane finally to join the track. We're getting under the bridge, over the crest, hard on the brakes when the GT4 driver cuts those curbs very nicely out. Very good lines through Ascari from Kanzo. Gets it turned in nicely as well for the Parabolica. And you see there the power just moves the car out to the outside of the track. Then they sweep back in to minimise the distance to the line. And Kanzo sets a provisional time there. TOK about a second, 8.8 behind. Anderson was invalid. And Sterling takes provisional pole by 1/10 off a second. The 778 now off McCutcheon coming across the line to set their first lap time. Puts them about 1.4 seconds off provisional pole. James Dean now coming through the Ascari chicane, using all of the track up through the gears, accelerating hard down the back straight. Up through the gears. Picks the braking point. Gets the car turned in. It looks like it's a little bit reluctant to go and meet the apex. No issues getting the power down on exit. We'll see what Dean can do. Across the line in about 4/10 off McCutcheon's time. Spanu in the Ginetta, the number 18 car. Doesn't look to have any of the same issues that McLaren had. Runs it a little bit wide. That might have put his time invalid. It's not. He's going to be allowed to finish this lap time and goes into third. Great lap from Spanu. Great lap. Kanzo will be trying again. TOK has been invalid this time around, but Anderson has kept it within track limits and will be putting a time on the board. And Anderson goes up into P3, 30 milliseconds behind Kanzo, very close up at the top so far. McCutcheon now comes across the line and does improve and moves up into 5th. And that's Anderson went through those bollards at the first chicane. Running very slow. He does very well to stay out of the other's way, of course. So who is going to be next across the line? Spanu again. We'll see if Spanu can improve on that impressive first lap time. Keeps it off the inside curb on the second apex. Picks his braking point. Well, that looks like a very stable car on the front end. Spanu again uses the power and drifts it all the way out to the outside of the track, and again will cut over to minimise the distance to the line. He improves, but no movement in position. Who is an issue? Sterling's had an issue. Who has went provisionally in pole position as expected so far. Anderson also, as we've seen, had that mild incident. So Kanzo will be next across the line, currently sitting in P2. Has to find 7/10 of a second if he wants to take first. That AMG engine in that Mercedes will be doing everything it can to help him to that goal. Doesn't improve this time around. The 911 car of TOK does, and takes 5th place back from Spanu. We'll see if McCutcheon, who hasn't qualified well this season, has made a lot of positions back up in the race. Moves up into 5th. It's a good lap. Solid lap from the Audi driver. Dean's kind of out there on their own just now. Back end of that McLaren looks like a big handful, big chunk of oversteer coming through Ascari. as the hairy shots there will show his line, and you can really see the understeer. That McLaren does not want to go and meet the apex of Parabolica, and that will cost him time the whole way down this straight. Spano's still a couple of tenths short shy. You see that Ginetta does not have the same issues. Uses all the track on exit. Where the Ginetta will be having difficulty is straight line speed. Again, does improve, but no positions. So these drivers must be doing very well so far. With two cars very close to each other. That is Ed Sterling and looks like TOK. Yes, it is. See just how close these are. Sterling will need to be careful he doesn't put him under pressure or make any contact. As we see TOK running wide, 6 seconds of qualifying left. This might be their last chance to put a lap on the board. It is. That is the checkered flag for qualifying. Sterling has had enough. He is in the box. That's TOK crosses the line. Kanzo has gave up as well as McCutcheon on the final corner, so nobody really improving. Anderson takes the line, will start no higher than third. The only person still out there is Jay Dean, and we'll see if Dean can improve. So comes through Ascari. They come into the passenger seat. Look at the back end of that McLaren. They said that earlier on. It looks very out of control on the exit of Ascari. Up through the gears, up into 6th now. Pinpoints the braking point just after the 100-metre board, and the back end just wants to squirm out. That's why they're not hitting the apex. He is going to get a good exit though. He's on the power very early. Over to the right hand side, minimise the time, and he spun over the line because he knows he has not improved. And Will Friedman did not set a time, so Will Friedman, the championship leader, will start from the back of the grid. So Friedman will start in 8th, Dean in 7th, 2.3 off. Spano with a 159.0, starting 6th. McCutcheon in 5th, 158.8, exactly the same time. No, it's not. My eyes did not see that correctly. TOK 40 milliseconds faster, sorry, 60 milliseconds faster. Great maths there in the Porsche. TOK will start 4th. Anderson will start in 3rd. Again, very close between Anderson and Kanzo. 30 milliseconds separate those two. And Ed Sterling, who has had a sterling performance on every qualifying session this season, with a 157.9, the only driver in the GT4s into the 157s, will take provisional pole. In the GT3 class, Zaitsev did set a lap after the specified time. It might be overlooked by the stewards, as what it's done is it's put all the cars together in the correct class. So he'll start in 10th. Mihaly will start in 9th. Yeah, there we go. Mihaly will start in 9th. Strelitz in 8th. Will Friedman in the chat. Yo, yo, yo. Wonder what was going on with you stuck in the pit lane there, Will. Hopefully give us a bit more information on that one. Frankenberg will start in 7th. 149.7. Robinson 6th with a 148.8. Very close in the GT3 class from this point in. Oban will start in 5th with a 148.7 and only 40 milliseconds faster. Walensky in 4th. Championship leader Rohznov will start in P3. Hanniewicz, the championship challenger, in 2nd. And in 1st, in pole position for the 75 minutes of Monza at the finale of Racing Series Europe, will be Apostolopoulos. So a couple of minutes before the start, as Will just confirms in chat there, he was doing what we were doing and just observing the others in qualifying and learning what he can. So if this type of thing looks right up your alley and you're interested in taking part, have a little look on thesimgrid.com and follow Racing Series Europe. They've got a couple of events coming up. The first of which is the off-season event, the Multiclass driver swap, which takes place on September 9th. Free practice starting at 7, race starting at 8 o'clock. Next season, we will have a solely GT3 season starting on Monday, September 18th. Same time as tonight, of course, 8 o'clock will be the start time. All the series details are available on thesimgrid.com. And on Wednesday night, as a new addition to the calendar, we'll have a GT3 driver swap sprint season, which will involve teams of 2 drivers battling out to take a team's championship. So that is what's upcoming for Racing Series Europe on Assetto Corsa Competizione. If you're interested, like I said, have a look on thesimgrid.com.
30 seconds.
So now we've got that out of the way. We're 30 seconds away from from Apostolopoulos getting the race started, leading us away from the front.
20 seconds.
20 seconds to go. These drivers just finalising their setups, hopefully able to push drive on the top left of their screen in time, or they will be starting from the pit lane. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and we are away for the formation lap as Apostolopoulos struggles to find the first gear. There we go, so that's us moving off now. Weather forecast is looking like it will be very overcast for most of this race tonight. Not expecting a change in weather either, it looks fairly static. Race time in the server is 3 PM, so we'll be expecting to finish the race at 4:15 PM, 4:20. For the first half hour at least, we're still expecting these overcast conditions to remain. Air temperature is 25 degrees, it's fairly warm still, even though the sun is not out. 31 degrees on the track, so tyre management might come into play. It's not impossible to get these tyres 75 minutes, but it's going to be a big ask with the harsh braking and accelerating zones here at Monza. Speaking of braking zones, we've got what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 braking zones. 5 of them are very hard on the brakes, so that's going to run some heat into the tyres. If they want to go the whole race without taking a change of tyres, it's going to be a big ask for them. Most of the drivers, I do think, will take fuel and tyres at their one mandatory pit stop. Both classes have to do the mandatory pit stop, of course. If you're new to multi-class racing, the GT4 drivers will have priority to the racing line, which means the GT3 drivers will need to be patient. It is expected that GT3 drivers will lose some time, and the drivers know to be aware of that fact as part of the challenge of multi-class racing. That being said, that doesn't stop some GT3 drivers from putting in some very confident, let's call them confident moves down the inside in a bid not to lose position. The wind doesn't look like it's a factor for today, just the 1 kilometre breeze flowing on the track for a bit of a headwind actually. That might possibly exaggerate the slipstream a little bit, but nothing too extreme. Championship leader Rohznov in third, Hanniewicz in second in the Porsche. Walensky in that Porsche as well. Again, the Porsche not known for its straight line speed. Could potentially be a weakness, and that McLaren, of course, as we've seen all season, has been absolutely rapid in a straight line. Oh no, we've lost camera control. We'll stick with the leaders just now. We can get it back, but we need to return to garage, so please bear with me at the moment in time. We'll do our best to keep you up to date for the final round of Racing Series Europe here at Monza. 10 rounds of the championship gone. It all comes down to this. We have Apostolopoulos on the left in that McLaren, Hanniewicz in second on the right. Rohznov, the championship leader in the number 1 BMW, in third, in behind. As we now await the green light to get us underway for the 75 minutes of Monza, and we are green, 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 and away we go. As they both look to have gotten a very good start. Hanniewicz has made a great jump. Very long straight, of course, as the Kanzo at the back is all over the back of Sterling. And Rohznov down the inside into turn 1. That's very important for the championship. Hanniewicz tries to hang around the outside. There's some slight contact. The BMW driver looks like it's got better drive, but the traction off that Porsche just drives away. Absolutely brilliant stuff so far. And I'm going to change the camera controls in just 2 seconds as we await the order on the left hand side to update itself, as Hanniewicz is going to maintain possession into the second chicane, goes a little bit deep. He's going to have to go defensive through Lesmo, and he does. He blocks off Rohznov, and Rohznov nearly makes contact with Wilinski down the inside, on the outside there. Not this time around. Let's quickly sort this out now. Wireless controller, let's go. And we're back. My apologies for that. We won't do that one again. So Hanniewicz is shown in third, but is in second just now. GT4's Kanzo has been overtaken Sterling. Sterling all over the back, using the slipstream. Anderson third, OK fourth, Spanu fifth. Friedman up into sixth already. Dina and McCutcheon down at the back. We don't know what happened there. Hopefully get some more information on that one. As Rohznov now a couple of tenths behind. Potentially a move there for Seoban down the inside. Not this time, nothing doing. As Zaitsev has been a great start up into 7th. Frankenberg down into 8th. Strelitz and Mihaly bringing up the back of the GT4s. We'll quickly jump to them in a second. Well, back to the GT3s in a second. And we see the difference in lines. Ginetta using all of the track. This might be a long race for Sterling. And we've got a move there. Wilinski in the inside defending from Seoban. Robinson also thinks about it. Kanzo, look at the gap they pulled on Sterling and how close Anderson's pulled up to the back there. And Spanu having a similar problem in the Ginetta at the end of the straight as well. Back up at the front, Rohznov is not letting Hanniewicz go. Wilinski again still holding off the back of Seoban, but Seoban's got great drive out of the second chicane. Thinks about hanging it down the inside into Lesmo 1 and keeps it there. To be fair, good credit shown when the driving is good. Very close stuff. Strelitz and Mihaly just bringing up the rear. And this is where Sterling and the GT4s is really got an advantage through these tight twisty sections of Monza. But now we're going to see if the AMG powered Mercedes has enough grunt to nullify that slipstream, because the Ginetta just moves off. See it, top gear. The Ginetta just struggles to keep up pace. That is going to be Sterling's problem as this race develops. Same with Spanu. Back up at the front though, we have got Apostolopoulos well out in front. What's the gap? 1.4 seconds to Hanniewicz, who's got 7/10 of a second to Rohznov. Seoban has managed to keep ahead of Wilinski now, but look, he's not given up. And it's great to see Zaitsev back. He almost didn't make the grid. Strelitz in 9th, Mihaly 10th. And we've got a near move here. We just missed the beginnings of that one, but Sterling now all over the back. And look at the pace difference in top gear. That Ginetta really is struggling for top end speed. And it's a potential move by Dean down the inside of Spanu. Makes it done, as does Friedman. Spanu runs a little bit wide. Maybe under pressure now from McCutcheon in the Audi as well. But that is Spanu being taken by both Dean and Friedman into turn 1. I think this battle of Sterling and Jimmy Canzo could go on for quite a lot of time. Look at the difference in cornering speed. That Ginetta is just stuck to the road like glue. Pulls out to the right hand side. Surely not into Lesmo 2. That's not a normal overtaking opportunity. And Anderson at the back in that purple McLaren will be living this. And look how close they are now. Anderson potentially making a move on Sterling. Keeps it this time around, but Sterling needs to be very, very careful as we jump on board with Anderson. And we'll just see exactly what happens to the pace of the Ginetta. Look at the final gear. Anderson closes right up to the back. It's not enough this time around, but he's fallen off the back of Jimmy Canzo. And that might now spell doom. The tracker now updates itself. The GT3 cars are now about a sector in front of the GT4s, and Sterling thinks about going defensive, not this time around. Spanu not under immense pressure from McCutcheon at this early stage. We've seen McCutcheon come through the field all season with just some great consistent racing, to be honest. Friedman now really turning the taps and got the slipstream. Well, Dean feel the need to defend into this chicane, into the second chicane. Not this time around, nothing doing. As Dean gets very high on the curb on exit, that might put him under pressure through Lesmo 1 and 2. So let's jump back up to these GT3 cars as we see them come round the Parabolica. Rohznov, championship leader, does not need to win this race, of course. If this finishes as it stands, Rohznov will be the GT3 champion for season 2. Most of the GT3s lapping very cleanly so far. It's been good to see. Now this shows here Sterling very close. And I think it's just going to be more of the same. Sterling pulls alongside now. And I think what we're going to see is Canzo on the left. The power of the AMG Mercedes car. It's just too much for that Ginetta to deal with on the straight lines. Yep, not enough this time around. This is either going to be a very frustrating race for Sterling or a very, very long race for Canzo. This is the pressure he's going to deal with all race, as Sterling finally has had enough. Sends it down the inside. Can he keep it? He does. Keeps it within the white lines. So that's Sterling taking first place back off the GT4s. First in class. We'll see if he can keep it as it comes to the next long straight, which is just after this corner here. Candle loses the rear, as does Anderson. So that's going to allow Sterling just to drift off down this straight. Not physically, of course, he will be staying awake. Candle under pressure from Anderson now. Anderson down the inside into Ascari, makes the move stick, big mistake. No, he doesn't make it stick, he's run wide, he's over the curb, and that's put him under pressure. The left rear of Anderson in the air. Very good racing so far, but the McLaren goes defensive. Kanzo has the racing line, able to brake so much later. He has sacrificed a little bit on exit as we see the Porsche of TOK very wide. Potential track limits warning there. And this is a different situation because that McLaren is not as slow in a straight line as the Ginetta, but Kanzo is able to just reel in. And he's run wide, he's went deep. Kanzo has went deep. Will he keep position? That's something that might be looked at by the stewards. Certainly a track limits warning. And we're now about halfway. The GT3s are halfway around the track, more than the GT4s. So we could get some lap cars very quickly, spicing this race up. I think Rolinski's got in front of Zaitsev. No, Zaitsev's got in front of Rolinski. That is, we've just missed that one. So let's have a quick rundown of the race so far. Apostolopoulos in first with the fastest lap so far. Hanniewicz in second, about 3 seconds down now. Rohznov in the BMW in third. Sobran in fourth in the McLaren. Zaitsev started from the back up into fifth, pending stewards' inquiry for them. Verlinski in sixth. Robinson in seventh. Frankenberg 8th. Strelitz 9th and Mihaly in 10th. GT4 sees Sterling now a little bit of a gap being pulled now, nearly 2.5 seconds. Kanzo under pressure from Anderson in the 888 McLaren. OK in the 911 Porsche. A little bit of a gap further back to Friedman in the BMW. Dean in the McLaren has got ahead of Spanu at the early doors, and Spanu's struggling with the Ginetta's slow top end speed, and McCutcheon brings up the rear. Zaitsev is on a charge. One's contact. That's contact. Zaitsev hits the back of Valinsky and that is Robinson hits the back of Zaitsev. It's so hard to keep track of what's going on. 3 different bits of contact there, and that is opening the door. What has happened back there? That's a slow moving Audi. Sorry, BMW. It's not a BMW, it's a Lamborghini. I'm so sorry. The Lamborghini has a massive amount of damage and looks like it's struggling to steer in a straight line. Windscreen is smashed. Look at the windscreen. Look at the steering wheel of Frankenberg. Turning to the left to go in a straight line. He'll be in the pits now, and it's 1 hour left of the race. That's a long time to keep a set of tyres. Boy, he'll need to be very careful as he brings that one back to the pit lane. Doesn't want to give it any more damage than he's already got. It's a long race. Please get the car slowed down in time. He does so. He won't receive any further penalty. But Zaitsev, the result of that is Zaitsev is in 5th. Rolinski 6th. Robinson 7th. Strelitz in 8th. So Sterling is still out in front there. And Anderson now, sorry, that's McCutcheon, thinks about a move on the inside of Parabolica to overtake Spanu. Nothing doing this time around, but Dean seems to be falling back into the grip of Spanu, and he's going to give away a double toe here. This is going to help the Ginetta retain position, but look at the straight line speed of that Audi. Here comes McCutcheon down the inside. I don't think Spanu has an answer for this one, as the move is done before they get to turn 1. Spanu onto the grass for good measure. So Frankenberg's still in the pit lane as Apostolopoulos puts a lap on the pitted car, and you see Frankenberg now falling down the order behind the GT4s. But that is their pit stop now being complete. So Zaitsev's now back into 6th. That green Ferrari looks very squirmy under braking. We've been only racing for 15 minutes. I'll be surprised if the tyres have gone already, but it would not be the strangest thing that's ever happened. So, if you've just joined us, what has happened? We've had an incident where Frankenberg's been in the wall and now rejoined the pit lane. We've on the pit lane, sorry. He's got a long way to go, but it is a long race. We've got an hour, just under 1 hour left. McCutcheon's now all over but he's got past Spanu last lap. He's now thinking about Dean this lap. Not this time, nothing doing. I'm sure that is not the last we've seen of that one. So just joined us, Apostolopoulos has led from pole. And we've got Rohznov. Roznov's in front of Hanniewicz. What has happened there? We've missed that one. Potentially a mistake from Hanniewicz. The championship leader and champion in waiting, Rohznov, if it finishes like this, he will be champion. Up into P2 and now on the chase for Apostolopoulos. I wonder what happened to Hanniewicz. Sirius Oban with a very good lap race so far in P4. Walensky is carrying a fair whack of damage on the back of that Porsche. Zaitsev in 6th after starting from 10th. You can see this back end of that Porsche beginning to squirm up ahead. We've got an interesting situation now developing at the back, as Spanu at the back in the GT4 is now being closed on by the leaders. So Apostolopoulos is going to filter through, goes through Spanu fairly quickly, uses the superior downforce off the GT3 car, makes short work of McCutcheon and Dean as well. So Apostolopoulos has got through fairly damage free, to be honest. We'll see if Rohznov can do that with the same efficiency. And he's not managed to do it on the straight at all. As Anderson gets a little bit out of shape, and that's opened the door up ahead. So now this is the problem Roznov's got. They've got two cars abreast through Curva Grande, and he's going to try it down the inside of the two of them. Surely not. No, he's not done it this time. The move's been done fairly quickly. He'll put it down the inside of McCutcheon. And that might hamper McCutcheon a little bit. No, it doesn't. The Apostolopoulos is now on the back of Friedman. Moves done fairly quickly, dispatched nicely. And Hanniewicz very quickly dispatches both of the GT4s as well. So that's good driving so far. Rohznov looks like may have had a bit of difficulty making their way past Dean. As next up the road for Apostolopoulos is OK in the Porsche. CS now coming through the back of this little pack, and this is one of the really great intricacies of multi-class racing. There is the chance that you could lose time. This being Monza, of course, minimises that chance, as the car, the 223 car of Zaitsev, has found their way to the pit lane. I wonder if that's a scheduled stop or not, as we're now 25 minutes into the race. Sorry, 21 minutes into the race. Flashes from CS Oban, doesn't make the move this time around. Two McLarens, of course. Don't think that has any loyalty here whatsoever, but that's now the GT4 made their way through, as Apostolopoulos is now catching the leading pack of GT4s. Rohznov has maintained the gap at about 5.2, but Hanniewicz seems to have came out of that on top. Only 1.5 seconds behind third place now. Walensky still firing along in 5th. Robinson 6th, Strelitz 7th. Mihaly still bringing up the rear, but going strong. Take that back, sorry, Frankenberg a lap down as well. But a long race, like we said. We'll see where they end up at the end of this. So Apostolopoulos has got past Anderson now. It's very close there from Hanniewicz, actually. We'll make sure. Yep, he's cleared Canzo now as well. But look at the gap now between these two. So on board Hanniewicz, that is the back of Rohznov as they join the start-finish straight, and look at the toll that the Porsche is going to get. The BMW, of course, no slouch in the straight line either. This is going to help the Porsche stay in contact, and they've got a GT4 up in front. What is going to happen here is Rohznov has to get out of the way. Anderson cuts across the line as well. What has happened here? It takes the helicam. Now, Hanniewicz went straight over, made no attempt to make the corner. Does he give the position back to Rohznov? It looks like he's going to. I don't know if he means to, but he's definitely going to. And retains the position as we've got another GT4 in front of this chasing pack through the Lesmo curves. And that's very dangerous from Hanniewicz. Makes it stick. A tiny bit of contact. He needed to stick with Rohznov to have any chance today. And I can confirm that Apostolopoulos has got past Ed Sterling out in front as well. As Zaitsev now leaves the pit lane behind Frankenberg, so it must have been a big accident for Zaitsev in the 223 Mercedes. Frankenberg has got in front in the 420 Lamborghini. And look at that Ginetta sideways. And look at the difference that Hanniewicz get the grip through there, and they're now side by side. This one could go any way, but the power of the BMW just edges ahead. Hanniewicz tucks back inside for a tiny little dose of slipstream. Puts it down the inside, makes the apex. Can he keep it? He does very well to stop it in time. And there's contact. There's a nudge. A small nudge from Rohznov. Rohznov flashing his indicators there. I don't know if that's an apology or a go past me. Not this time around. It's great to see the battle line on track, and you don't want to penalise. And that's very wide from Hanniewicz. You don't want to penalise every little bit of contact, because all it does is discourages people from racing, and that is obviously the last thing we want to see. We want to see these cars up against each other. We want to see a little bit of controversy as well, as we watch Hanniewicz bouncing over those curbs at the Ascari chicane, now up through the gears on the back straight, pulling a slipstream like they're pulling themselves up a tug of rope. Round the parabolica, and we just see the difference that Porsche has. We can physically see it with the camera, with the naked eye. We don't need timing screens to say that. Flashing by Hanniewicz. Obviously still aggrieved from earlier on, the little nudge, and I'll be surprised if that is not returned here. As the BMW driver takes the racing line, Hanniewicz down the inside again. He's going to make it stick and claims the apex. We'll see if Rohznov can make that back. Flashing again from Rohznov. We don't know if there's maybe something a bit more aggravated going on. As Anderson's now let quite a few cars go past here. I think that's Strelitz bouncing over the curbs. Friedman has worked his way up from the back of the grid up into 5th. It is a long race. We'll see what pace they're able to get out off that BMW. McCutcheon still all over the back of Dean. It looks like actually Dean's got passed on this lap. McCutcheon will be using that toe to on board. A lot of curb taken, and that's a mistake up ahead by Dean, but that firm suspension of that Audi means McCutcheon's not able to capitalise on that minor error. So we'll see this time it's going to be Rohznov who has the toe. The Porsche we know is not the fastest in the straight line. Up to the gears, nearing top speed now. We see the Porsche goes defensive. Rohznov thinks twice about doing it on this lap. And look at the traction from that Porsche out of turn 2. So this has been fairly quiet until now. We've obviously had a lot on so far. Robinson's 3rd in the championship and been running very well today. Steady if not quick. Closing the gap to the Porsche in front. Thinks about a move. Thinks twice about it. We've got yellow flags out at turn 1. That is Laszlo Mihaly. Looks like they've had a little bit of a spin on exit. Some cars coming through. Holds the brakes well. That is McCutcheon as well. McCutcheon now all over the back of Dean. Nothing happening this time as Mihaly rejoins the track relatively safely. Robinson just closing that gap now on Walensky. Hand over fist, little by little, pulling himself up to the back of that damaged rear bumper on the Porsche in front. Behind we've got Strelitz making their way past Sterling. So we'll see again. Only a couple of tenths in this one, 6/10 of a second. It won't be 6/10 by the time they get to the end of the straight. Nothing doing this time either, so we're now half an hour into the race. This is the point where the tyres usually begin to feel a little bit second hand. And they will now begin to think about a move, and that is okay. Thought about a move down the inside of turn 1 against Anderson. Nothing doing this time around. Takes to the escape road. No issues as a result of that. And as we've got, no, we don't have a break just yet because McCutcheon's still providing us with a little bit of action. So what have we got here? We've got Dean defending from McCutcheon, as we've got Miali from the GT3 crash joining the back of this battle. It does look like McCutcheon is in more control of the car. It must be said, at this point of the race at least. Mihaly thinks twice off it, a little bit of patience used there. You can see these two are in a very intense battle and doesn't need to get himself involved in an accident. When the straight line speed of that Ferrari makes his way through, and McCutcheon thinks about trying to tuck in behind, a little surprise attack into Ascari, but nothing happening this time around. And there's been a change up top for the lead. Hanniewicz is now in front of Apostolopoulos, who is only a couple of tenths ahead of Rohznov. The front three within a second of each other. What has happened to Apostolopoulos? Possibly been off track somewhere. Rohznov thinks about a move down the inside into Ascari. Nothing happening on this time around. That blue McLaren, of course, as we know, is very quick in a straight line. Look at it, just pull away. That BMW is no slouch, but that McLaren just flies out of the corner. Rohznov again thinks about it. Hanniewicz is pulling a small gap on these two. It says 7/10 of a second. That's a bigger gap than 7/10 of a second. As Apostolopoulos is the first to blink and makes it into the pit lane. Hanniewicz is doing everything they can to keep the championship on it goes, but on keep the championship going. But Rohznov in P2 means the championship is very likely going their way. We'll see where Apostolopoulos rejoins. They're going to be ahead of the GT4 cars. Robinson's still tucked in behind Walensky. The toe's not as powerful as you think it would have been coming in that part of the track. As the Porsche goes slightly deep, look at the gap being closed. Robinson can smell a move here. Defensive from the Porsche driver. The number 11 Ferrari will have to wait another corner, of course, as you can see. The damage on the back rear bumper, look at that there, off that Porsche. That will be affecting their performance. Walensky almost defending fresh air, nothing to defend against as the Ferrari goes a little bit deep this time into Ascari. And nothing doing this time around either. Sterling has been doing a fantastic job so far, still out in front. Has an 8-second gap over Canzo in the AMG Mercedes, who has pulled it now a 5-second gap on Anderson in the 888 McLaren. And this is where multi-class racing gets very tricky, as we've got Mihaly. Friedman overtaking OK. Mihaly out in the Ferrari, and I think that is Apostolopoulos in the blue McLaren, who is this for, it is for position, yes. So 4 cars in close succession, all fighting each other on the back straight as Apostolopoulos takes to the inside for a dive down into the Parabolica, as does OK against Friedman. As you can see there, he's edging alongside. Friedman brakes very late, takes the wide line. Very good driving from both of these drivers. But I think the shorter line to Parabolica has given OK the temporary lead. But Freeman's got a bit of drive out of the corner, thinks about tucking in for the slipstream. We've got a car leaving the pit lane as well, just to make matters slightly more stressful for the BMW driver. The 227 car of Strelitz now into the box to get their pit stop out of the way. And remember, we are just about halfway now. So these drivers splitting at 50-50. Yeah, that's Mihaly still at the box there. Friedman all over the back of this Porsche. So they jump on board with the BMW now through Lesmo 2. So important to get the curbs on that corner perfect. I'm trying to keep myself up to date with what's going on. We've got a lot of cars in the same area of the track. That looks like Mihaly is spun. Mihaly is spun at Ascari in a very dangerous place. So it's very difficult to get that car moving now, as we've just left the halfway point. And that is a 30-second stop-go penalty for Dean. The 57 McLaren has received a 30-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. It's going to be a long time for Mihaly to get that car going again. It's not been their evening tonight, and that is now a clear track. Mihaly can get that car moving. As we've seen the leaders pop through. Hanniewicz and Rohznov still together. Robinson 20 seconds behind the slot, and Rosnov's went very deep into the Parabolica. Could it now be time for some tyres? Do we have a pit stop for Rohznov? He looks like he's pulling off to the right. Yes, he is, as is Hanniewicz. So both of them into the box. As we look like we've now got a pit lane race. So what happens here is the drivers can elect not to take new tyres and save themselves about 15 to 20 seconds of time. So Hanniewicz is now stopped. Both drivers now stop as Mihaly joins the pit lane. A lot of drivers choosing now to come in for their pit stop. It looks like both of these drivers are taking tyres, so they're going to should come out roundabout line astern. It's going to take about 30 seconds for the tyre change, and there is Hanniewicz leaving the pit lane, and Rohznov will surely join shortly. That is Rohlinski. Rohlinski has blocked. These two are side by side. What is going to happen as they cross this line here? Rohlinski gives way. Is this for position? Has Rohlinski not taken tyres? Very deep into turn one. Thought a bit of a move there as we see Sterling just join the back of this rank. We've seen Sterling, of course, push those tyres a lot further than anyone else. Let's see if we can jump back on some races. Friedman gets the car stopped. No, that's not Friedman, that's OK. Gets the car stopped just in time for their pit stop as we see Strelitz continue on. We've got the 57 of Dean back in the pit lane for their stop-go penalty, getting that one out of the way. Of course, there is still over half an hour left. That is half an hour of issues that could happen, but with Rohlinski, it looks like they've managed to jump up into P3. After a short pit stop. Apostolopoulos is in fourth, still has the fastest lap. We'll let the leaders with their new fresh rubber see if they can do anything about that. Zoban is 7 seconds behind the pole sitter in fifth. Robinson out of the box now in sixth. And what's that? 2, 9, 18 seconds. So Rohlinski has made 18 seconds up by not taking tyres. So what have we got battle-wise on track just now? We've got Anderson, it looks like, in between, and it looks like he is the meat in a GT3 sandwich. Frankenberg, who has made their pit stop very early, they'll be struggling a little bit now. Anderson stays out this time around. Frankenberg goes through and back up into ninth. It's like somebody's went straight through the barrier at turn one. The number 20 car Sterling has made the pit stop, so Anderson has just taken the lead off the race. Sterling is in the pit stop. That looks like a 30-second stop. That is fresh tyres for the Ginetta. We'll see if any of the GT4 drivers fancy a move on that. Kanzo coming round Parabolica now. Sterling out of the pit lane. So a potential undercut situation here. As Kanzo can see Sterling and come out of the pit lane and will be demoralised by that. But that gap looks like it's closed a little bit. As the AMG gets very high on the apex curb of turn one. So, just over half an hour to go. We've got Hanniewicz out in first, who has yo-yoed between first and third as we're watching that McLaren. Look at the speed differential. The Porsche on the inside, can it break in time? Can both cars? Oh no, the McLaren's taken the shortcut. They'll have to give that place back as they do. Apostolopoulos does have the fastest lap just now. Do think that they have the pace to finish in front of that Porsche, especially if it's on older tyres. The 66 of Mihaly again has brought out the yellow flags at the Parabolica. We'll rejoin these two. We're on board now with the McLaren driver. McCutcheon and Dean's, I think Dean's throwing the towel tonight. Dean is stopped in the pit lane still, now 5 laps down. The McLaren takes a very quick line, bouncing over the curbs through Ascari. And the Porsche again feels need to go defensive, but doesn't need to defend fresh air. And we'll still get the good turning for the Parabolica. The dirty air coming off the back of that Porsche, slightly affecting the McLaren. But again, we'll just see here the straight line speed of that McLaren just reel in that Porsche hand over fist. Look at the difference. And if that McLaren can just stay with the... Look at the debris over the turn 1 racetrack. McCutcheon's still in the pits. That's a long pit stop. I wonder if they've been in the wall anywhere. McCutcheon with a big accident. We'll see if we can find out more about that. As it looks like there's been an accident. That's the second chicane. That is Apostolopoulos and Walensky. Definitely a contact being made. We just missed that at the last minute. Caught the yellow flags. But both cars look to be rejoining. Where's Seoban? Soban is, I think, just behind them now, and they two might be carrying a little bit of damage. So that might have now opened up the race for the 974 McLaren. Potential podium up for grabs here. Spanu still lapping that GT4 around the track. As it looks like they've got somebody leaving the pits now. That's Friedman. Friedman leaving the pit lane. And that looks like Friedman has jumped Anderson in the pit box. And what have we got? Kanzo. Kanzo takes Anderson as well. Anderson has undercut Anderson, and Friedman has overcut the lot of them. What? Right, okay. We need the driver tracker to update ourselves because Spanu isn't yet to pit. Sterling is in second. Friedman, as we're watching, is in third, defending from Anderson. No. Friedman is in third. Kanzo is fourth, defending from Anderson. Anderson has lost out in that pit stop, as they're now net fourth. McCutcheon still in the pit lane. That's either been a massive accident or he's just done for the season. Just done. So Apostolopoulos has pulled out a little gap now. Walensky is feeling the pressure. This is now the closest battle on track. As they watch this McLaren, look at the closing speed. McLaren's done an excellent job with this car. The downforce it can generate while keeping its straight line speed on the straights. Look at the difference. The grip difference through there. The McLaren alongside the Porsche that comes into the final gear. Look at the difference. It just edges ahead. And that one is a done deal. But the Porsche is not giving up. Takes the inside line. The drive that McLaren's going to get out of the Parabolica is going to see it ahead long before the braking zone of turn 1, and I don't think the Porsche has enough straight line speed to use the toe to bring itself back into contention, although it's not that far off looking at it. No, that one's over. Done deal. That is Soban now up into 4th. Still has 4 seconds to catch the cars in front as we watch Rohznov picking their way through traffic. Like we said earlier on, the GT4 cars have absolutely zero obligation to get out of the way. It is the GT3's responsibility to overtake safely, as Rohznov does there through Lesmo 1. Rohznov, of course, has the championship now, I think, in the bag. There's only a DNF from Rohznov and a win from Hanniewicz would see that change. However, Rohznov currently P2. We'll stick with it. Anything can happen in racing. It usually does, to quote Murray Walker. That looks like Apostolopoulos going past the purple McLaren of Anderson. Jimmy Canzo next. Yep, down the inside of the Parabolica. Oh, look at the scrape down the side, and the little bit squeamish. It runs a little wide. So not perfect for Apostolopoulos, who's currently in that final podium position. Got a little bit of time now. Let's have a quick review. Hanniewicz is out in 1st. Nearly 5-second gap to Rohznov. Rohznov 2nd. Apostolopoulos is in 3rd. Soban is in 4th with Rolinski 5th. Robinson 6th. Strolitz 7th. Frankenberg 8th. Mihaly in 9th. And Zaitsev is in 10th. For the GT3s, the GT4s go as follows. Is Spanu, who is still yet to pit. Fair play to them, running this one long, you never know what can happen. Sterling is 7 seconds in behind them, as we see Rohznov coming to overtake Spanu, with Friedman a net second in the number 8 BMW, only 5 seconds behind Sterling now. There's the move being safely done. Canzo is a net 3rd, Anderson 4th. Be interesting to see where Spanu joins amongst OK, who is currently running a net 5th. We have McCutcheon and Dean both sitting in the pit lane. Looks like their job is done for this evening. Zaitsev moves ahead now off TOK. Still a couple of laps down. Move being done. The 75 of Rolinski coming through the traffic now. That looked like an 88 of Canzo. Running a little bit wide there in Parabolica. Has that opened the door for Anderson? Not this time around, it looks like. Nothing yet this time doing, so it's been a good season for Canzo actually. He's done very well. As we watch Robinson now flashing to make the GT4s away. Is Robinson going to try the double move? No, tucks in front of Anderson. Very dangerous to do that, of course, in the braking zone. Not this time around either. This time into Lesmo 2. Cuts down the inside. As Canzo runs a little bit wide, gets a tight slap around, keeps out of the wall, but that is a position for Anderson, as Anderson now moves up into a net 3rd place. Anderson moving up the order. 3 seconds to Will in front. Sterling only a couple of seconds behind Spanu. So it looks like we've got Danny now in chat, giving us a bit more information. He's stuck in the pit lane, looks like a game glitch. I guess we'll call that a technical retirement. Thanks for the follow, Soban. Appreciate that one. So we've got 20 minutes left to go. This is now coming towards the end of the race. Nearly 4 o'clock at Monza time. As we're watching Anderson now and Kanzo. Very closely matched so far in this race. That AMG is running very nicely around Monza, it must be said. Doesn't have to be said, but it could be said. Since Anderson puts a little bit of a gap now on these two. Is it possible that those tyres are just beginning to go now? So it looks like to explain what's happened to Danny, to McCutcheon in the 778 Audi, it looks like a glitch where every time he's in the pits it keeps giving him a left puncher and his brakes are locked on. So we'll put that down to mechanical failure. Sterling's now got himself in front of Spanu, so Spanu is still to make that pit stop. I know what he's thinking. He's thinking the longer I can go here, he'll potentially open the door for others to make a mistake and then jumps into the pit lane. It's not a ridiculous strategy to try. We'll see if it works out later on. The number 8 of Friedman. Friedman went straight on at turn 1. He's went through the wall. What has happened there? That is Anderson now going back through. Yellow flags out, of course, and that's Kanzo joining the back. So is Kanzo going to think about a move now on the smoking Frenchman? He does, and cuts across the front of Friedman. Needs to be very careful on the brakes. And there's slight contact. A little bit of a nudge. I think will get. Can't say that out together. Friedman maybe giving the place back, but doesn't. Maybe feels that that was a dangerous move across the front of his bumper initially, and therefore doesn't have to give the place. But either way, that is Friedman up a position. Kanzo's not letting it go. Kanzo is on the pressure. He's got the racing line into Ascari, but Friedman has the inside line. Look at the straight line speed difference. AMG car is very good around here, like we've said. It's got a very good top end speed. And that's the position of it under as Friedman hits the ground very hard on the exit off Ascari. As we now come on board with the Frenchman. We'll see if anything is on this time around. Nothing looks to be happening. The toes too far back as we watch Frankenberg zoom past in the Lamborghini GT3 class. Gets in front of Friedman. And Kanzo's there, but runs right, he's going to be careful, parks on the apex. Frankenberg is now, what's happened there? Frankenberg, that's Strelitz actually, it's not for position. Soban's had an incident all the way back there in 7th. A lap down, is that damage on the back of the car? Just the paint job. Just the paint job makes it look like it's damaged. But he's definitely been off the track somewhere to be down there in 7th. He was running so well earlier on in the race. Frankenberg still running around, and we can see up ahead we've got Friedman all over the back of Kanzo again. And they've got a GT3 going past us. Friedman notices at the last minute was about to pull out. He's going to get a little bit of a toll from the GT3 driver. And it's very close again. That looked very like a late move from the Mercedes driver. Friedman will not be too happy about that. That's twice that's now happened where the AMG driver has came over at the last minute in the braking zone, and Will has had to react to avoid a collision. Very good driving from Will there. Took to the gravel trap and kept it going. Still in the race, and will very likely in the next 15 minutes get another chance to make a move. And that is McCutcheon confirming that he has ordered the tow truck to take the car to the scrapyard, as it will never be getting used again. Rohznov, championship in waiting, still out there, 6 seconds behind Hanniewicz, doesn't need to take the win today. Apostolopoulos has done well to bring that back to 3rd. Rolinski looks like they're maybe going to hold out for 4th. How far back is Robinson? Robinson is closing actually at a vast rate of knots, only 6 seconds behind. We'll keep an eye on that battle as we come to the closing stages. We've not featured the yellow and blue 227 off Strelitz very much this evening, running a race off their own, but they've got, it's a lap down, Frankenberg's a lap down just behind them. Strelitz has had an okay season as well, done a reasonable job of getting the car to the end. It's obviously easier said than done, no small feat. Strelitz missed the first half of the season as well. Last time out, managed to finish at Valencia 8th and 7th. Looks like they'll be going one better than that today and finishing 6th potentially. CS Oban's 30 seconds behind with 12 minutes to go. I don't think that one's going to be possible to bring back. So Friedman still on the back of Kanzo, a second down, 7/10 now. We'll see how that one goes as well. Robinson now 5.7 seconds behind Rolinski. So someone to keep an eye on so far. Who have we got still in this race? Looks like Zaitsev's left the server. So we've lost Zaitsev from the GT3 class. Mihali's still going. Very respectful driver, Mihali. Finished 10th and 9th in Valencia. Looks to be matching that one so far. On track to finish 9th. Absolute gentleman racer. Camera's got a little bit lost there. There it is. Now, Friedman all over the back now of Kanzo. This one's been gaining heat continually. A couple of near misses between the two of them, and this looks like it's going to come to a head one more time. We've got a couple of moves left in this race, as Robinson's now only 4.5 seconds behind Walensky for P4. Walensky, of course, if you're just joining us, did not take tyres at the pit stop. So that rubber has been going on now for 65 minutes on those cars. It'll be almost worn down to the carcass. And Friedman just doesn't have the straight line speed to make that one stick. And down the brakes, thinks about it. He's got so much more confidence on the middle pedal of that BMW to get the car slow down into turn one. Look at the debris all over the track as Mihaly now comes round to a lap on these two battering GT4 drivers. Will gets slightly out of the way, and that could be a very clever move. Gives him the race line and will tuck in behind, knowing the the GT3 should be faster. Got another GT, and he runs a little bit wide. And this is costing Friedman time as well. As Soban makes her way through. That one's cost Friedman time, and will have some more fighting to do. More battling if he's to catch himself back up with Jimmy Kanzo in the 88 Mercedes. As we enter well into the final 10 minutes of the season here at Racing Series Europe. And once again, if you missed us for the start, if you're interested in taking part next season, please have a look on www.thesimgrid.com and follow Racing Series Europe, and you can take part either on Mondays or Wednesday nights next season, if this is your type of thing. So it looks like Friedman's lost out there. 2.3 seconds is now the gap, so we've got two battles to keep our eyes on now. Hanniewicz looks like he's out in front and in control in that Porsche. He is led from about I don't know how far we were in, maybe 20 minutes in. He's led from then from Rohznov. These front three have yo-yoed about a little bit. Apostolopoulos started pole position and looked quick. I think he made a minor mistake and ended up behind these three. Walensky is now under pressure. Let's see, if we look backwards from the Porsche's rear wing, we can see Robinson and the number 11 Ferrari behind now. We're on the same straight. Only 7 seconds left. Can Robinson do anything about it? Look how close the gap is there. There's Robinson going past, and there is Walensky, and then Robinson. So they're not far apart now. Spanu is still going round, yet to stop. Overtaken by the GT3 driver in fairly incident 3. The leaders now, last couple of minutes, needs to get their way through these battling GT4 cars. Hanniewicz gets past Friedman fairly well, flashes the lights as a thanks. Incident 3, good driving from these two. And we'll just make sure he's able to get past all of these cars. Incident 3, flashing the lights. He knows there's pressure behind. He knows the championship is probably over, as Rohznov just needs to finish the race to collect some points, take him over the finish line for the championship. Looks like he's going to get through this lot fairly incident free. Friedman still behind Kanzo. Robinson still 3 seconds behind Wolinski. We've got the purple Anderson now in front on the GT4 class, and the lapped Mihaly as well. He's flashing again. He thinks about a move down the inside. Again, it's fairly incident free. Anderson knows he's in a net second. He doesn't need to get involved. That's not his fight at this moment in time. Oh, almost a little bit out of shape by Hanniewicz through Lesmo too. We watch Rohznov's got past Friedman fairly quickly as well. Robinson's now under a second to Wolinski. 5 minutes to go. This one is going down to the wire. Robinson's had a great season so far. He's currently sitting third in the championship. This will cement that. He is behind Hanniewicz. It's not going to make the move up in the championship. He finished fourth last time out as well at Valencia. Can he match it today as well? This one's going to be very close. Look backwards from Wolinski, I think. Look at the tyre wear deficit it's causing. Look at it, just all over the track. He's using all of the track as his grip is now gone. He moves over, he's trying to break the toe, going left and right across the track. Make it as difficult as possible for Robinson, but Robinson's closing the gap. Down into turn one, does he think about a move? Not this time around. He's going to have a couple of more chances, but that's going to be it. Spanu finally looks like he's made his pit stop. We're going to stick with this very closely, but Spanu's came out just around about TOK, it looks like. The pressure that Wolinski is must be feeling right now to have that green Ferrari fill up his rear view mirror. Now David, look away from this. It's been coming for about 10 laps now. As they pull out, we've got Robinson on the racing line. The Porsche defensive into Ascari, very high on the curb. Takes the middle of the track through the middle of Ascari and keeps position for now. Spanu has got ahead of TOK about a second in front and will be on fresh tyres. But that move looks like it's now been done. Good strategy from Spanu to get himself off the back, off the grid. He's done well there. We now look backwards. We see Robinson close enough to make a move. Look at the closing speed of the Ferrari. Pulls out to the racing line. The Porsche defensive again on the brakes hard, and they need to be careful. There's no contact, and they both make it through. Potentially a little nudge there, but that looked like Robinson's moving. Robinson gets through up into P4. This one's been coming a long time. Wolinski was bold and tried to make it the 75 minutes without a tyre change, and has done a great job. Don't get me wrong, whatever position he ends up in tonight, he's done fantastic to drag those tyres all the way to 5th place. But I think that is going to be Robinson now. Up into P4, securing his 3rd place in the championship. It's been a great season for the Ferrari driver. As Wolinski gets a little bit scrappy over the back curb. Spanu now is behind TOK. And DOK has lost traction coming out of the corner. Spanu now alongside,
right,
into Lesmo 1. It's not normally an overtaking opportunity as the Porsche hangs it round the outside. Spanu keeps in front for the moment as the leader has started the final lap. Hanniewicz out there in front, still about 6.5 seconds ahead of Rohznov. The Porsche GT4 not the fastest in the straight line, the Ginetta even slower, but Spanu is making that back of the Ginetta as big as possible, but I don't think it's going to be enough. Look at the exit the Porsche drivers got out of Ascari, closing the gap, pulling himself a little bit closer hand over fist. Who is going to be the last to break into Parabolica? It looks like it's Spanu down the inside, but the speed the Porsche can carry around the outside is going to set him up very nicely for a move into turn 1. This one's going right down to the wire. And just to keep touch with those in front, Kanzo's 2 seconds in front of Friedman as they're neck and neck across the line. Drive-through penalty for car 88. Kanzo's got a penalty. He's cut the corner, and that's going to give Friedman the lead, the third place, as OK has cut the corner into the first corner as well. Spanu takes the position, and it's not over yet. But I'm going to quickly jump to the leader as we watch Adrian Hanniewicz come across the line, weaving, celebrating to take the finale win here at the Monza 75 minutes. Hanniewicz takes the win, but the championship is going to go to Alexander Rohznov in the #1 BMW Euro Racing Series Europe champion for Season 2. Apostolopoulos comes across the line in third with the fastest lap, and Mihaly is confirmed in this position in 9th as well. Sterling comes across in 10th, but that penalty for Kanzo is going to give the championship, the GT4 championship, to Will Friedman as he comes across the line. Anderson takes second place. Kanzo is going to cross the line in third, but Friedman is going to get third place once that penalty has been applied. Spanu is a couple of laps down now and still in front of OK as we watch Strelitz, the GT3 driver, make their move past. But it's so close into the final corner. Spanu has done fantastic, but that is ran wide by the Porsche. If that is a move made, it's not going to be allowed to be kept, as he will gain an advantage. But Strelitz crosses the line now. It's so close between these two, only 0.2 of a second, but it finishes with Spanu in 4th place after being back off the grid. TOK in 5th, McCutcheon obviously with his problems in 6th, Dean is 7th, and we've got someone left the server unfortunately, is Soban, last across the line to complete the season for Racing Series Europe. What a race we had, what an ending to the 75 minutes of Monza. Let's run through the provisional order in a second. Let's quickly save the highlights of the race. Is there a point? Because they're all ghostling by the looks of things, so we won't be doing that. Another glitch in the game we've experienced a lot tonight. One person who's experienced that has been Danny McCutcheon after his issues in the pits. But let's quickly run through the order. Sterling is going to take first position. It's not going to be enough, unfortunately, to take the championship. As going back to quali race, Anderson will finish second, 24 seconds behind. Friedman only a further 5 seconds in third, but takes the GT4 championship as he did the GT3 championship in season 1. Kanzo will finish 4th tonight. It's a very good race from Kanzo, even with the penalty. I think that might put them ahead of J. Dean. We'll see how that one works out when the scores all added together. Spanu in 5th. Great drive from Spanu. TOK will finish in 6th. McCutcheon is non-finishing in 7th, and Dean in 8th. GT3's Hanniewicz will take the win. It's done everything he had to do today. Unfortunately, it's not enough, as the championship is going to Rohznov. The GT3 championship this time around heads to the BMW driver. Apostolopoulos is 3rd. Robinson with a fantastic comeback drive at the end, 4th, finishing 0.8 seconds ahead of Rolinski. Great drive from Rolinski, unfortunate at the end there. Strelitz, solid drive in 6th. Soban, a little bit of an incident, ended up in 7th. They could have had a podium today. They'll hopefully be able to regroup and rejoin next season. Frankenberg, with the error at the start, kept his head in the game, fought back to 8th. Mihaly in 9th, and Zaitsev did not finish in 10th. So that's us for this evening, as we watch Soban doing donuts, doing his very best to puncture those tyres. But I can promise you that it's a glitch. You will not be able to do that. I wonder what temperature his tyres are reading at. I wonder if we can see that actually in the dashboard. No, we can't. It's just obscured. Anyway, it's been a great race tonight. That is the end of Season 2. Like I said, you can join us for Season 3 if that is something that interests you. Racing Series Europe on thesimgrid.com. I'm sure if you have PlayStation Plus, Premium or Extra, Assetto Corsa Competizione is one of the games you can download for free. Get yourself involved. You don't need a steering wheel or any fancy equipment like that to play. You can play with a controller. There are some fast drivers who do use a controller. Get yourself involved. Racing Series Europe, join the Discord and see if this type of thing is for you. It'll be every Mondays and Wednesdays starting in mid-September. All the details on thesimgrid.com. Hopefully we'll see you there. And until next time, my name is Gordon Captain. I will see you at the start of the next season. Until then, take care.